Georgi Swetkov was really frustrated after his loss to Kamil. And that is one of the reasons why I like these post-match interviews, especially from the losers. Because the raw, unfiltered emotions come out. Sometimes they create controversy. Many times they create a lot of excitement. So in this interview, these are the things that Georgi Swetkov said. First of all, he called himself an arm wrestler and Kamil not an arm wrestler. Because Kamil flop pressed and kings moved. And as per Georgi, these two things are not arm wrestling.
I'm arm wrestler making arm wrestling against guy who is not arm wrestler and not making arm wrestling.
What do you specifically mean by that?
Kings move and full press. This is for me is not arm wrestling. But great things to him. He is great.
But Georgi nearly did both of these things himself. There were a couple of moments where he was completely under the table and his arm was at the center, not in the winning position. And in one round, he flop pressed Kamil too, where Kamil got the foul. He was lucky he survived that round and then later came back in the same round and defeated Georgi. So how can Georgi claim that king's move and flop press are not arm wrestling when he basically did the same thing in the same match? And the second thing that he complained was about biased or unfair refereeing.
They gave me one foul in the fourth round, I think, or the fifth. I was taking the win and they gave me foul and he won 3-2. If they didn't give me a foul, it was going to be 3-2 for me, and after that I beat him. It was going to be my victory, but it's all done.
So you feel like you were unfairly fouled, correct?
Yeah. I know when my elbow is going out. In this situation it was not out, but it's okay.
There may be a foul that was incorrectly called on Georgi, as he's claiming. But as I said, there was a foul on Georgi too, when his arm was in the center, not in the winning position, and his shoulder was completely below the table. And yet a foul for declined humerus was not called on Georgi. So forget about an open arm top roll. Georgi kind of illegally kings moved Kamil Jablonski to escape that situation. And the third thing which he said, that he wasn't aware if Kamil has a king's move or not. I'm hoping that Georgi kind of studied Kamil's matches before, because Kamil did try a king's move against Jerry Caderet and his king's move was good, his pronation was good, but his flop press defense is terrible. And that Georgi must have felt during their match as well, because Georgi was easily able to flop press Kamil's elbow off the pad and pin his arm down. And the second thing is that he literally told Georgi that he will be kings moving in the match. They discussed that during the pre-match interview. So how did Georgi not know that Kamil is going to kings move?
Were you hinting you may try and top roll here?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Why not?
King's move.
King's move. You know, he's never beat a king's mover. He's never beat one.
Yeah. I have a very sticky point.
Do you really?
Yes.
Ah, interesting.
And
Let's read a few response comments about this Georgi Swetkov interview. For the longest time, top rolling wasn't arm wrestling either, only hooking. Adapt or get left behind Georgi. What I saw here is two past opponents of Michael's. One was beaten, went home, trained differently to beat what beat him. You know what happened next. He beat him. So obviously talking about Kamil's revenge against Michael. But the other was beaten, bitched and whined, saying it didn't count because his hand was not taken, didn't change anything, then got beaten in the same way again. But the thing is that in this match, his hand also kind of got taken by Kamil Jablonski, who is not even a top roller. And Georgi was talking about an illegal king's move. The second time Kamil king's moved Georgi, right before he got pushed off by Georgi's flop press, his arm was not even straight. It was almost like a traditional top roll. There was nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the legal king's move too, but it wasn't even a king's move. And I think that was one of the reasons why Georgi was so frustrated in this match, because his hand kind of got taken by an arm wrestler who's not even a top roller. And Georgi's whole thing until now, even in the matches that he lost terribly with a score of 4-0, was that his hand never got taken. And finally when it did, I think that's what made him mad. But let's take a look at the positive comments now. Georgi shouldn't be disappointed. He showed he leveled up and is still a serious contender. Georgi is still very dangerous. He should be proud of his performance. Hope he comes back stronger. Hermes versus Georgi, go in December. I think Hermes versus Georgi match still makes sense. And I think Georgi can still call out Vitaly Laletin. I don't think that match is off yet. I don't think Georgi is going to win it, but I think he's strong enough to stop the match. If he can stop Kamil Jablonski's flop press, surely he should be able to stop Vitaly's flop press too. He just needs to take his hand. Overall, I think it was a good performance from Georgi. It was a great performance and he shouldn't be demotivated. Vitaly has confirmed in the recent GOB channel video that there are negotiations going on for a match between him and Kamil Jablonski in December. But that event is in Las Vegas. As far as I know, Vitaly still doesn't have the visa to travel to USA. Let's see if they are able to make it happen or not. Kamil gave a really good fight to Vitaly on the left arm. He may be able to do that on the right too. And if that is the case, then Kamil would have really solidified his place in the top 5 rankings in the world on both arms. There was a clip of Vitaly Laletin warming up with Daniel Prokopchuk before his match with Alijan Muratov. While there are some guys who don't even like to lift a bottle of water with their competitive hand before their match, Vitaly is pulling Prokopchuk's whole body across the table even while he's using both arms. That's the kind of beast he is with his left arm. Leonidas Arcona recently traveled to Norway and there he arm wrestled Philip Larsson. And it looked like he was going all out. Obviously, they decided to show us the pull that doesn't really tell us how strong Philip is or how strong Leonidas is compared to Philip. But still, it felt to me as if Philip is clearly keeping something in reserve while Leonidas is going almost all out. I would say he's going like 95% strength here. Then they air pulled on a boat on the left arm. So that was fun too. So Leonidas arm wrestled Lars Rohrbacken too, and Lars was also teaching him a thing or two. So everyone is top rolling in these practice pulls. That's good to see that they are working on their primary weapon. And clearly Leonidas is the one who's more tired here. He's the junior who's working with the senior guys and they are teaching him stuff. So he may have spent more time on the table than the other two guys. Recently, we were discussing how Leonidas wants to get into the top 10 rankings in the world in the 115 kg category. So who could his possible opponent be? Kirill Sarychev and Andrei Smaev both have refused to have a match with him. So who could the opponent be? I think it's Matt Mask, because both Philip and Lars Rohrbacken have arm wrestled Matt in the past. So maybe Leonidas wants to get some idea as to what to expect when he faces Matt Mask. I think that match is going to be cool. It's going to be awesome when and if it happens. Let's talk about a few practice pulls now. First of all, Daniel Prokopchuk handling Zurab Tavbaridze. I'm not sure what the case here is. If Zurab is tired, exhausted, did he practice pull a lot before that? But Daniel Prokopchuk is not supposed to stop Zurab like that, especially when Zurab's left used to be his stronger arm. He recently defeated Mayan Stringus with that arm. The next day or later that day, because the clothes are changed here, we saw a practice pull between Devon and Daniel Prokopchuk. And this time Devon stopped Daniel the first try. Usually it takes him a few tries, even though Daniel fouls a lot during these pulls, as he should, to make it competitive against Devon in a practice pull. But this shows when the other arm wrestlers are tired too, they can't pin Devon even during the practice pulls. Devon only gets pinned when he's the only one who's tired. So all of the Georgians, Avtandil Tutbaridze and many others who were pinning Devon with ease, including Ibrahim Sagov, the Russian, when they get tired and then Devon also shows up tired, Devon will feel like a different animal to them. That's all we have for this video. Thanks for watching. Please hit the thumbs up. I'll see you again.